You had a very humble like beginning to your bodybuilding career.
A great body you only can achieve with the work you put in.
What's one thing you don't like about bodybuilding?
Just talking about different people.
Germany produced some pretty big bodybuilders.
Both of my parents are from Poland.
First of all, I wanted to ask you, why did you become a bodybuilder? Why did you choose that as your career? It's not it's not the most orthodox choice. You know what I mean?
That's so true, brother. It was originally because I'm coming from a very sport active family background. So my mom was a ballerina back then, and my dad was a weightlifter in the Polish national team. So both of my parents are from Poland. Then my mother went to Russia and danced over there. So really high standard. And of course, I wanted to make them both proud. So I combined kind of both worlds, from ballet, from the more aesthetic side and posing, and also to make my dad proud with the weightlifting, so nobody could say like, he's doing just the mom stuff or just the dad stuff. And with that, my oldest brother also, Sergey, he's a professional gymnast, or he was a professional gymnast, and I was like 12, 13 years old, seeing him with all the chicks, all the ladies in the summer, and I was like, I need to look like this guy, so I also get the attention from the girls. I mean, that was the starting point, to be honest. But a few years later, I just had those gym bros around me because I benched 225 for the first time, and everybody asked me how I did this. So that was the slow process. I fell in love with bodybuilding, and then 2, 3 years later, I started to compete, do my first national show back then. Was 16 years old, and some old school guy in the gym just said to me like, "Yeah, why you don't try bodybuilding?" And I did breakdance back then, and I always loved competition. I always loved the challenge. I have two older brothers, you know. I'm the youngest guy, so it was always a challenge for me in life, and we always had competition in our house, and that what made me to jump into bodybuilding. And I always thought I looked like shit. I'm not even good enough to do it. But then I moved my ranks up, and
Is it true that
13 years later, I'm here.
is it also true that when you started bodybuilding, you only had like one barbell and you had like just a couple of weights and you had a very humble like beginning to your bodybuilding career?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I grown up in a village in Germany. It's called Swabismund. It's next like to Stuttgart. It's maybe the bigger city some of the listeners know. And it has more cows than people in this city or in this village.
Wow.
So yeah, it was really minimalistic, but until this day, I mean, right now I live in Berlin in a two-room apartment together with my girlfriend, and going to this old school bunker gym.
Mhm.
So nothing super fancy, but I think that's also the reason why I still working hard and still like pushing it, because I'm still in this underground and still in this underdog mentality, especially because I think that's super important to stay
Mhm.
hungry and
Sure.
don't think you're on top of the hill now, and then your ass get kicked pretty fast.
You got your pro card at 21 years old, right? I mean, that's very,
Yeah, I just turned
very.
21 then.
I mean, that's amazing. How are we able to achieve it so fast? Because 21 is some people don't even mature. You know what I mean? The muscles doesn't even mature until later
Mm.
in life. You got it at 21.
I think it's because I started super young. Like I said, I started with 12, 13 years old, doing push-ups. And then with 13, I went to the gym, trained crazy together with my oldest brother, and started competing with 16 years old. Did 2 seasons in the national federation, won the German nationals in 2018 in our natural federation, and then made the switch in 2019 and turned pro in my like first run for the pro card. So that was, I don't know what it was, but I think it's also genetic. That's of course a big thing in our sport, and
Mhm.
just classic physique came up, and my lines and my proportions. I never was the biggest guy on stage, but with the posing, with the conditioning, and like details I brought on stage, um, yeah, somehow it worked.
Your nickname, Miracle Bear, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, why did you pick the name?
That's super funny. It's like when Instagram came out or when I started to do my profile, Urs or Urs, like the American guy says, is translated in many languages. It's the bear. So my mother gave me that name, and I just wanted to create something funny or something more special because we all know those guys online, blah 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 blah. IFBB Pro, and
Mhm.
I just don't want it to be that. So I just said like I had a good friend of mine. He saw me one day at the gym. I did like freestyle posing on some kind of music, and he came in and said like, "Bro, you're a fucking miracle bear." And then on that day, I think, or a week later, I went home and started Instagram, and I had it in my mind and just typed it in. And then a few years later, sponsor said to me, like, yeah, change your name. It's not. And I'm like, no, I want to stay real and don't want to change anything for any company. And yeah, that's pretty cool now. So we're building everything around that. We have like the Miracle Wear, the clothing line, my girlfriend and I are running, and yeah, it's a cool attribute.
What's the most thing you love about bodybuilding, and what's one thing you don't like about bodybuilding?
What I love about bodybuilding that it's a great body you only can achieve with the work you put in yourself, you know. All the stuff you can buy, all the cars, all like the materialistic stuff, it's you can buy, but none of those guys, like fat, ugly, old guys, can buy a nice physique, you know? And that's what always like inspired me so hard that and what you can achieve out of your own body, that's just crazy. And also all the sides bodybuilding gives you with the discipline you have, like the scheduled routines and everything you can transfer in your other parts of life. I
Mhm.
mean, that's amazing. The best moment of my career is to like give my mom so much money she wants and don't
Nice.
need to work anymore. That was the best moment of my life so far. So achieving that through bodybuilding is like a dream came true, you know, and that's super cool. What I hate about bodybuilding, there isn't that much I hate about the sport. It's more just like in the bodybuilding scene, some people like I always love guys, they put in work like you did with your movies and documentaries. And I mean, I don't know if anybody knows, but that's super fucking hard work. I mean, that's so many hours, so many flights, so many. I mean, I don't need to say it to you because you know it, but the listeners can like think about it. It's so much you put into it, and then you have guys online just talking about different people and other guys, and yeah, making the profit out of it, and that's what I really don't like to see. Like for me, it was always bring the work and win the shows or do some kind of work and prove that you are good enough for something and not just with talking cheap online, you know?
That's true. Now, Germany produced some pretty big bodybuilders, right? Marcus Rule, Dennis,
Yeah.
Dennis Wolf. Like, who were the some of your favorite German bodybuilders that you looked up to?
I mean, I'm super close with Marcus Rule. He's like a mentor for me, and we talk a lot. We train a lot together. We have also did videos together, and I always call him when I need some advice in my career. But besides that, like you mentioned, we have great athletes coming from Germany. But the sad thing is, all of them just Marcus Rule stayed in Germany. And I don't know why, but I think sponsor contracts were better back then in the US and all over the world. But my like little mission and my goal is to like make the bodybuilding community huge here in Europe, especially in Germany, because
Mhm.
since I decided to stay here and be like the classic guy from Europe, I see like how bodybuilding is getting more popular and popular. And that's why I'm also doing the interview with you, because I saw the same thing with the movies you put out back then. It just like started to everybody's watched it and hyped it up, and that's super cool, and that brings our sport we love like to the next step, you know. And that's what I miss also about bodybuilding a little bit. I don't want to compare it to WrestleMania, to MMA, but I miss those characters, you know.
Sure.
And of course, you're a person, but I also want to be a character on that stage and telling more than just a good body, telling history with it, you know, and entertainment as well. So
So,
that's
speaking
why I
of
miss a little bit.
definitely speaking of Germany, right? Do you feel support from the German community? Because I was just in Brazil, right? And the Brazilians are so supportive of their athletes. You know what I mean? Like Rafael Brandao, like crazy crowd just for him, right? That obviously Ramon, you know. Do
Yeah,
you?
I've been to Brazil as well,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was super crazy. I've been to the favelas and recorded a video there
Mhm.
with the people which came out of there and lived there, and I got so many like followers in if within like 2 weeks or something. My whole Instagram and YouTube blow up, and that's super crazy, and that's like the standard I want to achieve as well here for the people in Europe. But it's with Germans, it's a little bit special, I would say, because we all remember our German soccer team or like guys from Formula One, like Michael Schumacher or someone. And Germans are really behind it when you get your first victory. It's like, so my goal is to win the Olympia. And I know from that point on, the Germans gonna be the craziest
Gotta
bodybuilding
win it, right?
fans
Gotta win it.
because they know we have a winner in it, and then yeah, it's gonna change immensely.
You have a girlfriend, right?
She's also my manager.
You are
Mhm.
currently one of the top guys.
I don't want to be just in those old school days.
Do you have a top five?
2007, who was like seventh place at the Olympia? You don't know it.